right, welcome back. So we have reviewed the stops, the nasals. We're moving right along to the fricatives. Fricatives are hissy sounds. So air is forced out of small spaces and the airflow can continue until we run out of breath. So they're also known as continuants. First off is the f and the v. Say the first sound in isolation using a mirror. Notice what your mouth is doing. Place your hand in front or a piece of paper. How much air is being pushed out? Now gently place your hand on your throat and notice what you feel. Try the second sound. How much air is coming out? Gently place your hand on your throat and notice what you feel. All right, so take a minute or two to explore the similarities and differences between the two sounds. So these can be known as lip coolers. Both sounds are made in the front of the mouth with your teeth on lips. The air is sometimes somewhat cool. We're going to compare that to the for later. So is unvoiced. Is voiced. Quick to note, the letter V exists in Spanish, but it's usually not pronounced. If you recall, we're talking about like Latin American Spanish as opposed to Spain Spanish. They tend to have a different phonology. In African American English, the f is often used to replace the voice th when it occurs in the middle or at the end of word. For example, worth is pronounced worth. Author, offer. Remember, these differences are not wrong. Be sure to explain to students that there can be different ways to say a word, but one correct way to spell it. Next, we have sh and v. Say the first sound in isolation using a mirror. Put your hand in front of your mouth with a piece of paper to feel how much air is being pushed out. Gently place your hand on your throat and notice what you feel. Now try the second sound. This has an underlined for voice, so we have z. Okay, how much air is coming out? Place your hand on your throat. What do you feel? Take a minute to explore the similarities and differences between the two. All right, these can be known as tongue coolers. Both sounds are made with the tongue between the teeth. There are two different sounds, but the confusing part about this is that they're spelled the same way. So we have the th unvoiced, like the word thin, with, math, thanks, and the voiced th, this, that, there, they, either. This is not too important for spelling because it's the same digraph is used to spell both phonemes. However, the phoneme distinction does contrast the meanings of words. For example, ether, either, cloth, clothe, breath, breathe. In Spanish, the letter th is pronounced somewhat as the voice th, like pescado. Okay, pescado. Listen, pescado. Right? It's not as, I don't know the adjective, it's not as like pronounced as the D. It's not pescado, right? Like we would in English. So keep that in mind when you're helping Spanish speakers with their spelling. Also, these sounds are very rare and difficult for many people across the world to pronounce. So here's a map of the entire world, and as you can see, the TH sound is very common in the United States and Canada, small part of Western Africa, and then some parts of Australia, a little bit of Europe. Not very common, right? So most of the world has a difficult time saying this sound. In African American English, the unvoiced sound is often replaced with the D, as we saw on the map earlier, when it's in the initial position. For example, this, dis, that, dat. When the voice th sound is in the middle of a word, it is sometimes replaced with the v sound. So weather, weather, bathe, bathe. Since the goal of instruction is not to have all students pronounce the words exactly the same way, we can help them by using kinesthetic cues. For example, using a thumbs up signal when the grapheme is or th is an excellent way to support student spelling. Recall that the has two sounds, right? We have the unvoiced, such as path, and the voiced, such as this. So having that thumbs up cue when you're trying to get that letter TH out there is very helpful for a lot of students. Moving on, we had S and Z, so S and Z. Say the first sound. S. Okay, feel how much air is coming out. S. Touch your throat. S. Beautiful. Next, we have Z. Okay, how much air is coming out? Z. Feel your throat. Oop, had a hiccup. Feel your throat. Z. All right, now compare the two. See what's the same, what's different. All right, these can be known as skinny air. Both phonemes are produced with the tongue on the ridge of the teeth, the same location as the t, the d, and the n, and they're very similar. And this explains why bugs, hogs, and wings are spelled with the suffix s, but pronounced as z. It's very difficult for the mouth to go from a voiced sound to an unvoiced sound and vice versa. So try pronouncing bugs with a s sound. In Spanish, the z usually sounds like an s. Okay, and we're talking about Latin American Spanish as opposed to Spain. They have different phonology. In both Spanish and African American English, these sounds are produced the same way in English. It's important to note that when making some words plural, such as bugs, the S sounds like a Z, as we've talked about, because the G is voiced and therefore the pronunciation is altered due to co-articulation. If you try to say bugs with the S pronounced as a S sound, it's very difficult. Bugs, bugs. It's difficult to say, so our mouth is kind of somewhat lazy. So we just kind of roll from, voiced to voiced, bugs, to make it much easier for us to speak. Next we have sh and j. Say the first sound. Shh. How much air is coming out? Shh. And place your hand on your throat. Shh. Now say the next sound, and I'll be honest, this sounds a little tricky. Zzz. Okay. How much air is coming out? Zzz. Touch your throat. Zzz. Take a minute to explore the similarities and differences between the two. These can be known as fat air. Both sounds are produced further in the mouth with the tongue pulled back on the roof of the mouth. Shh is unvoiced. J is voiced and does not have a consistent spelling. So think of the word entourage. It comes from the French. Treasure, Latin. Azure, Persian. Okay, and both of these are not phonemes in Spanish. So you'll hear a lot of kids pronouncing these with a different accent. In African American English, these are both pronounced the same way. Please note that not many programs teach the j directly, as its spelling is so inconsistent. Now we have this fricative is made in the glottis, and the air is pushed up and over the back of the throat in a pulse. It's always followed by a vowel. It is unvoiced. In Spanish, this sound is represented by the letter J, as in Jose and Juan. To review, fricatives are hissy sounds, and online can be said until the breath runs out. They're continuants, and they are 4 pairs. So we have f and v, and v, s and z, sh and zh. And they're and the one pronounced in the glottis, which is way in the back, is the letter h. You're doing awesome. Oops, I'm trying to get out of here. There we go.